to you.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks, Alison, and thanks, Nick, for your comments about what we're doing on quantity and quality. And of course, we are all very pleased that we are on track to meet the 2010 EU target, and that we're still on track for 0.7 by 2013, and very pleased with the budget outcome, of course. I think a couple of comments on the financial crisis. I mean, as Nick said, there is now a very strong focus on the importance of aid financing. And what we're seeing in the context of the crisis is that in addition to the standard indicators that are used in Paris and Accra to measure aid effectiveness, a much stronger focus on flexibility, on the ability to front load aid to deal with the crisis now, and on issues about disbursement and getting money out of the door. I think the urgency of the crisis is really bringing to the fore some of the concerns in the aid system about slowness to approval, slowness to disperse in some parts of the system, and those are things that are not actually measured in the Paris and Accra framework. We ourselves are trying to step up some of the monitoring. We're doing that. We're very pleased with some of the agreements that have been reached in the boards of the multilateral development banks, for example. Agreements have been made to allow countries to bring forward some of their commitments from the World Bank and from the African Bank, which are hugely important for dealing with the crisis now. So I think just to sort of say, to put that in some context in relation to the crisis, I think also just on conditionality as well. I mean, what we have seen in the context of the London summit was this agreement by the IMF to drop structural performance criteria from all their lending to middle-income countries and low-income countries, and to move from performance criteria to benchmarks, which for us was a hard, thoughtful decision in the IMF, but again, you know, a real step forward and an exciting one that actually other donors are having to come to terms with. And the way that the conditionality issues are playing out in the context of the crisis are actually quite interesting. And in some places, we're actually seeing the European donors rather challenged by the fact that the IMF's approach to structural conditionality has softened while their own has remained unchanged. So on my slides, I'm moving then towards some comments on where we are in DFID on Paris, what our priorities are in terms of the quality. Yes. I've also a few comments on the bank, the EC and the Global Fund, just the agencies that we are prioritising some of our lobbying efforts around.
There you go. I think you pressed this one.
That one. Yes. Okay, can you see that? I think I did want to just talk quite openly about the challenges in DFID on quality. I mean, Nick has said that there are areas where we do need to improve, and you can see that we have our own assessment of where we feel we are off track or where we need to really concentrate our efforts to move forward. And those are, the first one is actually, that's measured by aid on budget. The second one is the parallel implementation structures, and the third one is aid is more predictable. And we have now agreed within our own corporate performance systems that those are the three areas that we're going to concentrate on, and targets against all those three are now hardwired into all of our country teams' corporate performance targets and up through our broader corporate performance reporting to our management board and then to the Treasury. So we do take improvements there seriously, and as part of our commitment on predictability, the commitment to reach the new target established in Accra to agree rolling 3-year programs is part of that. And that is a challenge, to agree rolling 3-year programmes when your own government doesn't have, at the moment, a rolling 3-year medium-term fiscal framework is a very difficult place to be, and there are very difficult fiscal issues to work through to meet the Accra target. So, I mean, I just want to reassure you that we are committed to doing this, but also I don't want you to go away with the sense that this is an easy thing to do. This really challenges fiscal rules and fiscal systems and is something we're working on. Mutual accountability as well is a priority for us. It doesn't show up as a specific target there, but of course it was one of the key issues raised in Accra. Is it on there? And we are particularly worried about the lack of progress on mutual accountability. And I'll talk a bit more about that later. Nick's already spoken about our commitment to the International Aid Transparency Initiative. And we are very excited about where that's going, but the real crux on if we really make progress on this is going to be the end of the year. At the end of the year, we're hoping that we will be able to get significant sign-up to the new standards and the new code of conduct. From now until the end of the year, the work is going to be done to really refine the code of conduct and the standards. We hope that we'll get to end of November, December, with all those 16 donors signing up, and ideally more. And you can see there are still some major donors missing from that list, and we've got issues to work on, particularly with whether we're going to be able to get the US to sign up. On mutual accountability, for me, actually, personally, this is the most depressing aid quality issue, the lack of progress on mutual accountability. But Matthew, I expect you'll talk some more about this, so it'll be interesting to hear what Matthew has to say about it. I mean, as Alison said, I've come from working in Mozambique, where there was a very strong mutual accountability framework, and we were all quite frightened of it, actually. I mean, it was there, and we felt its presence, and we were very worried about how we would perform, and we were very pleased when we came top. I'm very pleased when we came joint top with the Dutch the second year. I'm very worried that the year after the Dutch would beat us. So there was a real sense that mutual accountability frameworks do actually make a difference. And I think particularly for DFID, where a lot of these performance issues are in your gift as a country director, the policy framework in DFID in many cases enables you, is permissive in that you know, the policy decisions have been taken. You've just got to get on as a country director and deliver. And therefore, to have a country-level mutual accountability framework really is very important, and equally important for the other donors. And you know, so it is very depressing that there are so few examples of that. And trying to understand exactly why that is something I think I'll ask Matthew to talk about later, because it's definitely a priority. Just very quickly, we are focused on the quality of our own aid, but also the aid effectiveness of the institutions that we are shareholders in. The World Bank is producing its new aid effectiveness plan. In fact, one version has already been to the board. Our priorities in working with the World Bank are really that we want to see an aid effectiveness plan that really embeds their commitment to aid effectiveness at the heart of their corporate performance system. And there's still work to be done on that. Although they score okay on some of the targets and amber for quite a few, our concern is that, well, I wouldn't say it's luck, but our concern is that there still isn't a hard and tight corporate performance framework that these targets are embedded in that is really going to give us the confidence that they're going to meet them and are on track to meet them. And there's some particular issues about using government systems that are very important for us. Yeah, and then on EC, I think the predictability of aid is a priority for us as well. I think the fact that the EC has the MDG contract is great, and we really need to make that commitment to predictability run throughout the system. They're a standard bearer in some ways on predictability, but it's not sufficiently embedded. And I've just put up the Global Fund here as an example. Far too many reds, but the very good thing about the Global Fund is they've embedded their commitment to Paris in their corporate performance system, and they've actually come up with a composite indicator on aid effectiveness, and they have a very short list of performance indicators in their corporate performance system. So as an example of an agency that's actually taken the reforms seriously and embedded it at board level and made it very visible, it's a very good example. So I think that's what I was going to say, Alison.
Great, thank you.